There was an interview that came out yesterday with Francis, and he had some things to say. And I just wanted to get your take. Did you get a chance to watch it on the MMA Hour?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I had saw obviously some headlines and stuff. What I say is I think there was our teams. Markel is his manager and Andrew is his attorney. Matt Hume and my team been working on this for the last 3-4 months. I personally haven't been involved as deeply, right? I mean, that's not my job. I run the company. Matt Hume runs athlete recruitment, matchmaking, etc. And there were definitely offers, a first offer, and then I think there was a second offer. Then it came to the point of Matt Hume working with Markel on a $20 million, and they went line item by line item and said, with this deal. And then Markel literally said to Matt Hume, this would put you in the front seat. Now, Markel and Andrew did say there's high urgency. A deal is going to close imminently. Now, I did hear that, Francis said we didn't talk numbers when we met. At the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a CEO. For anyone to say that I would not talk about an offer, I'm coming to meet you for 2 to 3 hours and not talk numbers. It just doesn't make any logical sense. I'm not saying that Francis is being untruthful. I think everyone has, you're sitting there at lunch, everyone has their own perspective of what would happen. But I can tell you, I think there might be a disconnect between, Francis and Markel and Andrew on real-time updates of what's going on, because the point of that meeting was to see if we could come to terms, and the point of the meeting was not just to sit there, but of course being the entrepreneur I am, I'm going to try my best to explain why one is the best option for him and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, after we walked away, shook hands, it was on good terms. But the next day I messaged Andrew and Markel, and they have all screenshots of it. And I said, hey guys, thank you so much for this whole process, because they've been working with us for 3-4 months. And I said, at this point we're going to withdraw. And, I think the big mistake is I probably shouldn't have gone and said that to the media, and then the media put a lot of different spin on things, and you kind of lose control of the discussion. And so that, in hindsight, I feel very bad about. But, Francis, I'd say a lot of stuff he said was truthful. I think a lot of stuff he admitted or inadvertently admitted, maybe he wasn't aware that Markel and Andrew were in sync with Matt Hume and stuff on offers. Because just like me, I'm relying on my team to work out details with his team. I'm not personally doing the negotiation or the offering to Markel or Andrew. I don't think anything untoward was done by anybody. I just think these things, sometimes when they're out in the media, it just ends up snowballing into he said, she said, etc. But I can tell you in good faith that Matt Hume and Markel and Andrew worked together for the last 3-4 months trying to get something done. And then it came to a point where, like, Chatri, and I remember this message from Matt Hume saying, hey, this is a deal that Markel says we can get through, that will put us in the front seat. Okay, then Chatri, go meet Francis. And that was literally the conversation. But again, I have not seen what's Francis. I just saw headlines of him, saying something. We didn't even talk about numbers. We did talk about numbers. I pulled out Matt Hume's numbers, that he and Markel were talking about, the $20 million. So, but look, at the end of the day, Francis, we couldn't make it done. That's why we withdrew, and he got what he wanted in the end. So at the end of the day, I think no harm, no foul. He's in a happy place. He's in a good place. And, we couldn't get it done based on what we felt was a true win-win for us, right? Everything in life has to make sense, and I think for PFL it made sense, and so kudos to PFL and kudos to Francis. I'm zero, like literally zero. Again, the mistake I made was just that talking to the media saying I'm going to go meet Francis was a big. I just, in hindsight, I kind of innocently just said that, and then it just blew up, and then it's he said, she said, and it is what it is.
Look, anything that comes out, sometimes you say something, the media's going to put it out the way they want, and that's unfortunate. But let me ask this one thing off of it then, because it was when I listened to Francis, and he said that, you know, he told you right away, look, you know, I'm probably going to go to the PFL. That had to, in some way, make you go, well, if you know where you want to go, you know, yes, you're in a position that you could possibly talk him out of it, but does that set the meeting off with almost like a shank on a golf shot or something?
So
It's almost bad.
this is where I tell you the disconnect, right? Like Markel and Andrew told Matt in writing, as well as verbally, that this is a meeting that Chatri has to present this, and you'll be in the front seat. This is what I was told by Matt, and Matt was, you know, saying this is from Markel. And again, I don't think anything untoward is happening. It wasn't until midway in our meeting with Francis, it wasn't until midway that he said, "Hey, I'm really leaning to PFL." But of course, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, meaning that my job is to make sure any athlete, you know, like Roberto Soldic had offers from UFC and I think Bellator and whoever, and we were late to the game with Roberto. And I said, Roberto, give me a chance, you know, come to Singapore, watch an event, and let's hang out. And
you need to thank me for that one too. You need to thank me for that signing of Soldic, because I swear to God, I was in Ireland with him and he was talking about he's going to go. I said, what are you doing? I said, Roberto, you're a prize fighter. You go to the place that's going to pay you the most money and give you the fights that you want. The most money. That's what you're doing. And then all of a sudden he signed with you. I went, way to go. Smart man. Yeah. Loved it.
So that one is an example. We were behind. You know, John, whether someone's behind or ahead in the deal making doesn't matter, because, you know, he had two offers, right? What matters is, can you come to terms? So for me, I think it was a lot of media and misunderstandings and just honestly, like, it's how many times have I been in a situation, whether it's a sponsorship advertising deal where we're behind or we're ahead and we end up losing the deal, or we're behind and we end up, like, again, Roberto's a great example. We're way behind. UFC had given an offer about a month before, and we're way behind. And I was able to convince him to come join and sign with one. So, but what will stop me though is if I feel like, hey man, there are certain terms in which I don't think we could make things work, right, on win-win terms. And so again, I do believe Francis chose the right organization, and I wish him well. In hindsight, I wish this hadn't played out in the media between me and Francis. But behind closed doors, from my understanding, Markel and Andrew and Matt are in good terms, and there's no ill will whatsoever. But I do think a lot can get lost in translation. So I think maybe it is possible that Francis was annoyed that this came out in the media. I have no idea, right? But I can tell you that his version, some of the things he said were, again, this is from the headlines I see. I'd have to go watch what he said in detail. But again, it's not worth my time. I mean, at the end of the day, he signed. I wasn't able to get it done, so it is what it is. But we did send an email or WhatsApp message to Markel and Andrew after the meeting. Hey, we can't. We are withdrawing from the process, of which we've been at it for 3-4 months. I mean, there is actually no drama really.